I am your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. I want to thank you all for sharing these videos and for subscribing. Somebody told me that in Maryland that they connect to the YouTube channel to their television screen, and then they watch my videos. And I've had calls, reviews from all over the world. I'm so glad. Please share the videos and subscribe to the channel, because my interest is to raise 1 million African entrepreneurs and to share with people, humanity, how God has helped me. That is the covenant I had. I want to, this is one of the first materials I wrote when I started ministry, Covenant Keeping God. And I'll talk to you about it. So I have keys to understanding women. Very nice book. Then Echo Income. And then there's a place called There. And then 60 to 70. Then the oil of marriage. Then there is overcoming difficult times. And then there is the pastor's family and finance. Pastor is family and finance. Then the first book I ever published, Hold On to Your Vision. And then there is the dynamism of wealth and the philosophy of the ant. I was waiting to connect, take a flight from Frankfurt, Lufthansa, to Abuja. And an elegant lady walked over to me. She was holding my book, The Philosophy of the Ant. In Frankfurt, I was so happy, so encouraged. And I want to share with you now how we started this publishing business. I showed you all these materials, but I will start with Hold On to Your Vision and Covenant Keeping God. Covenant Keeping God. I published this with 9,000 naira. Then, the year 2000, I waited in the bank for nearly 2 hours or more before they gave me the 9,000 naira. It was my mother-in-law's money, and published it. Very, very nauseating thing. Look at it. Very unattractive. Sold it. I used to write behind Dr. Apoki is a medical doctor by training, a preacher by calling, grow. And people bought. They bought, and we generated money, paid back the 9,000 naira to my mother-in-law's account, and it has turned to a multi-million naira business. In my sitting room here, there are books loaded. What? Millions. I don't have good furniture, but I loaded books there. And then there are several that are finished. In fact, 2,000 copies of Money is an Idiot should come this week. And there's one I published when I was 60 years old, from the 60, when I was 60. What did I write there? The story of my life. 60 at 60. And so I want to republish it. I have close to another 30-something books that are out of print. If I keep printing them, I have enough to keep me busy. I have enough that my grandchildren and great-grandchildren can publish and remain occupied throughout the ages. But how did it start? Number one, This is hold on to your vision. It started as a morning devotion. I was at number 24 Ebema Street in Aba. I was practicing medicine, and the morning devotion I did with my family, I wrote it into a book, and it sold. I published the first set with 35,000 naira. The 35,000 naira was from the money the company I was treating at Rumo Biokani. I had a retainership with one dredging company in Rumo Biokani in Port Harcourt. They paid me 35,000 naira. The boy had charged me 70,000 naira then. And God told me, if you can't publish with 70,000 naira, why don't you publish with 35,000 naira and get, I think, 500 copies or so and move on? So that was how I published the book. My wife came from the Kwifi convention. Kwifi means Christian Women's Fellowship International of the Church of God Mission from Benin, and told me, these your things you teach us during morning devotion. Turn it to a book. And that's how I turned it into a book. And it has sold and sold and sold and sold. So you now know how I started. Number one, do not despise the days of small beginnings. God didn't call me for the very rich people. He called me to speak to people like me. When I was passing through difficulties, as I told you, he said, why not you? That you are passing through them to be able to encourage others in future. And so there's nothing spectacular about me. In fact, when if not for social media, when people see me, they can't relate Dr. Apoki they hear about with the reality of who I am. So there's nothing spectacular. And if there's nothing spectacular about me, you don't need to be spectacular before you can make an impact. You're not spectacular, but you are peculiar. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Your story is different. Your experience is different. Your education is different, even if we hold the same certificate. And so, the next thing, I don't speak well. I don't speak well. I just manage to cut corners and communicate. As long as I am communicating, no problem. My grammar might not be correct, but my rema is correct. That's what is most important. Then I don't have a good memory. I forget. In this house, I hid $1,000. I don't know where it is. I've searched and searched and searched. That's how I hide money. One day I saw 70,000 inside a shoe. I don't know how, I'm not too normal. Why did you go hide money inside shoe? The day I will see the $1,000, I will see it in a very obscure place. But it is here. There was one day I saw 150,000 naira. Inside somewhere, I was looking for another thing. So I don't have a good memory. I can preach and forget what I preached the last day. So I'm not an angel, but I don't tell lies because I will need to remember what I have said. I would need to remember what I have said if I told you a lie. And you will notice that on this channel, there are people I have been taking care of or known when they were children. There's a lady in Germany. I don't know if you will watch this video. In those days, they used to bring them for treatment in my hospital. And there are people who knew me right from Royal Hospital, then Petra Hospital, who knew me right from Aba, from the health office. In fact, somebody, Hendrix Nzekwe, just sent a message through my manager in Abuja that he wants to get in contact with me. I knew him in 1984 or 85 during my NYSC days as the medical officer of health in the health center. And so he can testify to whatever we are saying. I don't have a good memory. You will notice that I don't quote scriptures often. I don't have a good memory. But no matter the defect you have in your life, no matter the inadequacies you have in your life, the grace of God can turn a non-entity to a known entity. It can make a superstar out of your disaster. You can win a trophy from your catastrophe if the grace of God is upon you. Don't compare yourself with people. Don't look at people and then disdain yourself. Admire yourself. It is the way you eat bitter cola that will make somebody beg you. I said that severally. So, how the power to start small. There is power in starting small. As I showed you, I started small. Hold on to your vision with 35,000. I will sold thousands of copies. Covenant keeping God. Well, I'm always laughing when I mention covenant keeping God. It is the reality. He's a covenant keeping God. The God that told me, why not you? You are passing through this to be able to encourage others. He has kept that promise. They said, what you have heard me say in the presence of many witnesses, and trust to reliable men who are able to teach others. He has kept that promise. Told him, if he makes me successful, I will teach others. I signed a bond slave agreement with him. He told me in George Mogalu's house through a woman that if I can be bold, an Anglican woman that got born again, if I can be bold to speak the truth, that he will prosper me. I've been bold, spoken the truth, and he has prospered me. So he's a covenant-keeping God. So it is an act of great faith to start small. When I see young men wear suit and hawk agidi or sell peanuts or do one thing, I always believe that that man is a man of faith. That girl is a woman of faith. So it takes big faith to start small. And that big faith does not leave you. If you can manage smallness with that faith, then you can manage greatness with that faith. The next thing is that, I said that before, don't admire people at the book of Revelation without reading their book of Genesis. You will just see all these great preachers, all these great businessmen, all these great musicians, great performers, great anything. You always see them at their book of Revelation. The book of Revelation is the last book in the Bible, while the book of Genesis is the beginning book in the Bible. So always try to understand the book of Genesis of people before you start admiring their book of Revelation. It is the in-between, the efforts, the wisdom, the strategies, the inspiration, intuitions, and all the eyes that I teach about in between, and the grace of God that you should grasp from their stories. So, to start small, you must shut the door. Shut the door against yourself. Shut the door against outsiders that I will mention. 2 Kings chapter 4 from verse 1 to verse 7. Somewhere along the line, the woman said, I have only a little jar of oil. When Elisha asked, what have you of sale value? And Elisha said, shut the door against yourself. Borrow vessels and keep pouring the oil. And the oil was expanding. There is an expansile power in God In everything he has created, viruses, bacteria, fungi, spirogyra, plants, animals, there is an expansile power in God that is also in us, that he releases to us once we are ready to start. So, shut the door against yourself. Do you know when I went to the bank, First Bank, near Urubu College, that was where I went to. When I went to the bank to collect that 9,000 naira, I had sold the hospital. I had left Aba, come to Ugili, took transport to First Bank to withdraw that money. As I was sitting there, so many voices were ringing inside my head. Don't you see you have lost it? You sold your hospital. Now you are coming to withdraw nine naira. You that 9,000 naira. Is it 900 naira? Can't remember. 900 naira or 9,000 naira. You're coming to withdraw this amount from your mother-in-law's account. Can't you see you're a failure? You that used to import cars. Can't you see you're a failure? You that had patients in your hospital. Can't you see you're a failure? You're wasting your time. What if the seminar you are going to run does not hold? You will have published the book in vain. And then I wrote it and published it. Look at it. Very ugly. Who will buy? You know your spellings are not correct. Shut up your mouth. There are times you need to speak to yourself. You remember my story of when I was going to Europe for the first time in 2012? How the devil, they will send you back. Nobody hears. And you know what I'm talking about. Nobody hears. When I started preaching newly, my tires were as smooth as this my Paco head now. And I will be preaching in Binez Hotel to very rich men, rich Abba boys. The devil whispered to me, when you go out, your tire will be flat. As you go out, your tire will be flat. As you go out, your tire... If you don't pay attention, as you go out, your tire will be flat. As you go out, your tire will be flat. As you go out, your tire... Satan, you are a bloody liar. Shut up! Do you know your tire will be flat and your jack won't work? And your jack won't work. Your spare tire will be flat. I don't know if you've heard such things. If you've heard such things, just comment, I have. Then tell Satan, shut up your mouth. And so, shut up your lying mouth. Bust you, man. And so, I'll be hearing voices. Excuse me, they won't buy it. And lo and behold, they bought. So, always shut that door against yourself. Those voices that want to discourage you. The next thing is that you should shut the door against the following C's outside. Number one, the crowd. Other people have been writing. What of Bishop so? What of Apostle? They've been writing. What are you going to what are you going to write that they've not heard before? Let the crowd be there. The woman with the issue of blood did not listen to the crowd. She got to Jesus. Number two, critics. Oh, critics. Oh, there's nothing. One of my seniors in secondary school took my book, underlined all the mistakes, underlined them, and gave it back to me. But he did not learn a lesson. Go and look at him now. He's old and haggard and wretched. He's begging me that he should render services to me. If I follow this criticism of my work, I will not progress. So when he underlined them, I corrected and moved forward. But I gave him a product and knowledge he did not learn. And I'm now where I am. He's far behind me. My senior. Somebody who had opportunities, squandered them. So your critics, don't spend your time arguing with somebody who is not going anywhere. They will help you waste your time. So, critics, don't waste your times arguing with somebody who has nothing to lose. Then commentators. Ah, is it books you are writing now? Is it books you are writing now? Why don't you do them like this? Oh, it has no spine. Why don't you put spine? One of the things about me, even if I know I am going to do that thing, I'm going to improve to that level, I don't do it because of you. I will take my time. Even if I'm going to change a thing, I don't do it because of you. I'm as troublesome and crazy as that. I will take my time and do it. Because if I just do it because you said it, I'll give you a key to always open my heart. Commentators, and then those who are concerned. Oh, doctor, since you sold the hospital, how are you going to cope? Somebody came here and said that this man, who is he? I told them that he is a medical doctor, but that he sold his hospital and is now a pastor. And he told me, you must be a crazy person. Somebody told me that. No, I'm not only crazy, I'm mad. MAAD. Motivated, aggressive, adventurous, determined, and driven. And you will see the cynical. Is it because of money? What kind of? The cynical. And then the criminals. Those who want to defraud you when you are starting small. Don't let them become the obstacles of your life. Let them become motivators. Let these stumbling blocks become steps for you to climb up to where you want to go to. It requires focus on the bigger goal. That means you can do small things with a great mindset. If you see me preaching from that booklet, hey, fire with all my life, fire. You won't know when you will buy it. So do small things with big mindsets because you are focusing on the bigger goal and there's no second chance to make a first impression. According to Rod Stewart, the first cut is the deepest. It is good to steal with your eyes, but there are many ways to reach Lagos. Lagos is the commercial capital of Nigeria, used to be the administrative capital. There are many ways to reach Lagos. You can come from Cotonou through Badagry. You can come from the sea. You can come by canoe. You can come by ship. You can come from Ogun State. You can come from another part of Ogun State or your state down. You can come from Shagamu. You can fly in. You can enter a trailer. You can enter a bus. You can come in as a pregnancy and then they deliver you in Lagos. There are many ways to reach Lagos. The important thing is get there and do the most important thing is what you do in Lagos. So there are many ways to achieve everything in this world. And even though you look at people and the principles they have applied, find your own way. Now, men may be discouraged at first. They might laugh at you, but you might have the last laugh. Don't be discouraged by your first failure. Failure is an opportunity to do it better. If I don't remember failure, that's one thing with me. I'll just do like my wife. It's one of those things. Insight is very, very important. When you see anything, if I see anything, no matter how small it is, I will behave like Michelangelo. I hope I'm right. That saw a piece of granite and the owner of the granite discarded it and said, it's of no use. And Michelangelo said, I see an angel in it. And he built a tent, covered himself, and carved out an angel out of the piece of granite or marble or whatever. But he saw an angel in something that was not attractive to the owner. So I always see there's nothing too small. I have never seen anything small or useless. The plantains I have here, I picked 8 of them from the junction of my street. Somebody threw them in the refuse bin, and I picked them and planted. So I have plantain throughout the year. Another person gave me the ones that bear 2 suckers. During COVID lockdown, my wife noticed snails in between the plantains. We went out by around 10, picked snails that filled a paint bucket, the 50-liter paint bucket, small snails, and we cracked them, washed them with alum, put them in the freezer, and then produce cooked soup, banga soup, sauce, and several other things with them. And when I eat, I will leave small to eat the next day. I've never seen anything the way it is. I always see it the way it can be. I've never seen an event just the way it is. I see it, what I can become through that event, through that activity. I never see any person the way he is. I always see what the person can become if he applies wisdom. I also know what they can become if they decide to be mu. So, insight. Each of the lectures I was given, I saw the potentials, like the pastor, his family, and his finances. I gave a lecture the first time. I wrote a book concerning it. They bought books of 350,000 in 45 minutes after I finished preaching. They gave me this topic again, and I wrote it into a book. And we sold 1,600 copies in 45 minutes after I finished preaching. They gave me another topic. The topic there, one of the books I showed you, Overcoming Difficult Times. I preached it in the small church I attend that I gave over to Church of God Mission. Preached it there. They just looking at me. But I saw the potential. And then I had an invitation to preach that same message at the Balm of Gilead to men of the Church of God Mission from all over the world. And I printed 2,000 copies. And we've been selling those 2,000 copies. I used it to preach at a church in Omole Estate, the same topic they gave to me. And I'm going to speak on the same topic somewhere in December. So that message I shared in my church that did not have much effect. I saw the potential inside, and it has produced results. I'll give you an example. Let me just quickly say this up front. I come from a tribe that suffers from one thing called Ojefia. Ojefia is disdain. I beg, is it not Joseph? Is it not Jesus, the son of Joseph, the carpenter? Dr. Apoki. He's not spiritual. Dr. Apoki, he's a motivational speaker. He's not anointed because I don't do mumu. Yeah, mumu. Dr. Apoki, he teaches principles. Dr. Apoki doesn't do miracles. You don't know anything. What you are struggling with now, I've done them, reevaluated them, analyzed them, and discovered that nearly every person that received a miracle in the Bible did not amount to anything substantial. Nearly all, apart from Mary Magdalene, nearly all. So, but I don't care. I don't care. Bust you, man. I don't care. Don't care. So, value. Let me give you another one. Insight. Yesterday, I woke up and I told my wife that it is not about the money that is to be realized in the Thanksgiving. I'm not the pastor of the church. We need to build our church building so that they can. I don't want them to go because they use the building in our school because it's like the Ark of Covenant in Obededom's house. But they need to go and flourish. And so we're to give money to build the church house. And I had made up my mind what to give when I woke up. And so I told my wife that the Thanksgiving is not about the money, it is about the journey. And when we were to share testimonies, I shared the testimony of how we couldn't afford Thanksgiving. We had to go and buy plantain from somewhere and used for Thanksgiving. Now, when we closed late. I dropped my wife in one of the cooperatives we belong to. And then I got home. I saw a potential in that statement. And I came home tired, did a 30-minute video teaching on it. And people have been watching it from all over the world. Lo and behold, somebody sent 340,000 naira. 340,000 naira. That's about $200 from the United States. I have not met him before. I don't know him, but I'm just saying this to acknowledge him. He doesn't want his name to be mentioned. If not, he will have sent me a message. That's 340,000 naira. It's in that singular statement. My pastor, I told you I taught my pastor in the Bible school. My pastor will be shocked that 340,000 naira is coming from YouTube through somebody who listened to that short testimony I made. So there was a potential in that testimony. I saw it, and then I did a video. What have you in your hand? That was what God asked Moses. What have you in your hand? That's one question you must answer. What have you in your hand? What have you in your hand? And then I read in the Bible, don't appear before me empty-handed. I took it to myself. I will not appear to speak empty-handed. Based on another statement, what have you of sale value? 2 Kings chapter 4, 1-7, particularly verse 2 in the Amplified Bible. So I saw value in every topic they gave me to speak on, and I started writing books on them. So that's how we started. Till today, several of the topics we do in our webinar are generated by somebody else. Then I build on them. So insight. God works with potentials. He gives you potentials. If he gives you finished products, you might die prematurely. People will kill you to get the finished products. So he gives you potential so that people can remove their eyes from you. And then in the process of the struggle, though they laugh at you, they ignore you, you will reach a great height. And by then, they've forgotten about you. So that's why in every palm fruit, there's a palm tree. In every palm fruit, there's palm kernel cake. There's palm oil. In every palm oil, there is margarine if you hydrogenate it. In every palm fruit, there is palm kernel cake, PKO, that you can add sulfonate. It becomes detergent. From detergent, glycerin will come out as a byproduct. The glycerin, you can add oil to it again, turn it to hair cream. The palm kernel cake, you can add methionine, lysine, calcium, blah, 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 bone meal, and produce animal feed. From the chaff of the palm kernel that you extract, you can add cement to it, vibrate it, and produce roofing sheets. the kernel, the shell of the kernel. You can add cement, vibrate it, and produce blocks to build, lightweight blocks. So I'm just talking about palm fruit. From the palm tree, you can produce brooms, you can produce toothpick, you can produce baskets, you can produce palm wine, from the methylated spirit, you can do all kinds. And the Bible says that the righteous man shall flourish like a palm tree. That means God gives you potentials. It's up to you to bring out the potentials. In the parable of talent, potentials. In the parable of sower, potentials. That's the way God operates. Forget all this kalo Christianity. Just say, see that, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't work like that. God could have created this world in one day, but he followed the principle of gradualism, starting small. Okay? So, learn to start small. God gives you potentials. It is the caterpillar that crawls that turns to a butterfly that soars. So you can crawl in life, but the time comes you will soar and your diet will change. Butterflies suck nectar. Caterpillars eat leaves and they crawl. So always ask yourself, what next? And that's a Japanese principle called Kaizen. Kaizen. Always improving on what has been. So the whole creation immediately collaborates to make you succeed when you start. Any failure you have might be as a result of ignorance, might be as a result of the fact that God wants you to do it better and learn from it. So, you must hold on to your vision. I told you, I started hold on to your vision from family devotion. It is what it is. Oil of marriage, from the problems I was having in marriage. Oh, the problems I was having in marriage. Those are the things I wrote about and turned them to a book. And it's so, but listen, that book was was one book. It was titled Common Problems in Marriage. It was a very ugly cover, an ugly cover. And then people will look at it. You know, church people, hypocritical people. I am well. It is well. I'm not well. I need help. I'm blessed. No, I know I'm blessed, but I need money from you. I need help. Me, I know they all those fake this thing. I know well. Are they hungry? I'll tell you. I know be Shunammite woman. I be Robo man. Worry man. So I now wrote the book, Common Problems in Marriage. I wrote there that this book is as a result of the challenges in my marriage that I've overcome. Bam. They no agree buy them. They no agree buy the book. Why? You see, thank God I don't have problem in my marriage. Thank God. And they were dying. Thank God I don't have problem in my marriage. Okay. One day I was in Tinkan Island Hotel. Reverend Akwashiki of the Christian Pentecostal Mission invited me to come and speak in his church at that Trinity, that area in Ajigule. And I was in the hotel. I had an inspiration. Change the title of this book, divide it into two. So I changed the book, separated into two, wrote one, Oil of Marriage, and the other one, manageable or marriageable. And then I increased the price, I doubled the price, and two of them started selling. Oil of Marriage, I've reprinted several times. Manageable or marriable, I want to reprint it. So, potentials, have insight. Then money is an idiot. It was as a result of a lecture that I was given by Barrister Azuka Obi, who watched me, listened to me speak at the Assemblies of God School of Divinity at Umuahia on From Grass to Grace. And he told me I should get ready to speak to Assemblies of God men around Nigeria. And I took that topic. God pushed me to write it. I wrote it into a book. What title do I give to it? I got the title Money is an Idiot, and sold. It was giving me $250,000 every month in those days. So, uh, Oil of Marriage, I've talked about. Covenant Keeping God, I've talked about. Hold on to your vision, several other books. So, idea, opportunity, topic, platform. Turn it to a book. You can never start writing until you start writing. Thank God for modern technology. You can be talking and to be converting it to a book in your phone. I type on this my small phone to send it via WhatsApp to one of my numbers, and I store them there. I can be anywhere and be writing, and then a book comes out within a space of days. I send to my publisher, they did send back to me, send to people, format them, and then the book is out. So the next thing is that dump your status to market your product. Dump your status to market your product. I started driving the school bus and all those things I told you. My wife will sit outside the church, open the boot of the bus, sit inside the bus. We bought plastic tables. She will be selling. There was a day I preached to Khan at the Anglican church at Owodawari, and the whole town gathered, Christians, and I went with books, wrote on the topic. My children, 4 of them now, they were students. We gave them books. They went into the crowd, sold. They sold their school fees, sold out more than enough. So you don't put down your status. Bust being doctor, put down your status. Earn an income. Then, after some time, the expenditure rate was more than the rate of money coming from the books. So I wanted to sell a property that I owned to be able to publish again. Because when you spend bulk money publishing, when the income of the books will be coming in trickles, and then you just be consuming. You'll be spending from there. Then when you want to publish again, you need lump sum. So what I have devised is that I use the income from the books to solve domestic problems. Then, don't follow me. I accumulate some and use to publish. When I sell bulk money from a conference, from a big meeting, I use it to publish other ones like that. But I make sure I have books that I have published that provide a steady flow of income. Now, then the thing went down. I don't know what happened. Maybe the buildings, children's school fees, and whatever. And I wanted to sell one of my properties somewhere. And the person refused to buy. Now, listen to me very well. There are some things that don't work for you. God is preparing a better alternative. There are some things that don't work for you. They were not good for you. God bless the man that denied me visa the day I went to the United States Embassy to travel. God bless him that denied me visa. As I turned around, I told myself, I will build myself in my country. And I remember I had a question asked in my spirit, what were you really going to do in the United States? Is there more work there than in Nigeria and Africa? Don't let what you have been deprived prevent you from getting what has been made available for you. And that's how I started traveling around Africa, concentrated on building myself in this country. Today, if I tell you some things, I just told you somebody sent money from the United States. If I tell you some things, it will look like pride. But from this bedroom, from inside my car, from the boot of my Hilux truck, from a wheelbarrow in my farm, from cassava farm, I have become a global phenomenon. That man refused to buy the land. Somebody refused to buy my land when I wanted to sell it. That land that was not sold at that time, 8 times 4, 24. 8 times 4, 30. 8 times 4, 24. It's about 48 million naira now. It's there. I've not touched it. So, how did we start again? Listen and listen well. This video is getting too long. Let me summarize. Listen and listen well. I wanted to publish again. I wanted to sell that land. It didn't sell. Then, the Baptist church, the men in really here, invited me to come speak to them at Oginibo. I have forgotten the topic, but I remember I produced growing small-scale businesses. And I needed to print the pamphlets because I couldn't write books. But there was another way to reach Lagos to print pamphlets. But there was no money. So I had a plantain that was mature. That plantain, I planted them from the remnants. Remember, we're talking about starting small. The remnants of the plantain that one man brought to do a seminar during our Word and Wisdom conference in my school. They were the discarded ones that people didn't buy. I planted them. And out of the discarded ones, this one was very big. What they discarded, I took the water from my fish tank. I was using it to water I drilled the canal along the lines of plantain. So it grew so big, a big bunch. So I sold the bunch of plantain. I think it was 1,200 then. Then I learned from my lawyer to keep the scrap from my vehicles. So I dumped the scrap that I had in the compound. I gathered them and called somebody and bought. Then I bought paper from my wife. You know, this house, we are business people. We don't play romance with our money. My wife bought paper to use to print her own books, her publishing company with my son. So I bought paper from her. I bought from her, from the plantain and the scrap I sold. Then I needed some money. I borrowed money from my principal then. What's his name? Ruben. I borrowed money from him. So I had 5,000 naira. I didn't drive the SUV. I called my lawyer who bought fuel of 3,000. Is it 3,000? Yes. That one took us to his Camry, took us to Gunibo. We preached. And my lawyer was very good at selling. He sold books of, I think 25,000 naira, or I don't know, sold books. And then I gave him 2,000 naira. We took the 25,000 naira. Assemblies of God, Reverend Okaka and Dr. Chidi Okorafo, and all of them invited me to come and speak to the men building enduring family businesses and managing men's fellowship in the 21st century. I wrote them into a booklet, 2 booklets, printed them in my printing press. They were not very extraordinary. Start with what you have, start where you are, start the way you are, but keep improving. And I published them, printed them. I went to Isaac Borough Center in Port Harcourt, place filled with men from all over the country, filled with men. And I spoke. One was during it was a group discussion. They were shared into groups. I spoke to some men, then spoke. Come and see fights over this material. But, and we sold all of them. It was from there that I started the publishing business again. Remember, plantain, scrap, borrowed money from my principal. That was how this business started again, and we have several books in this place that runs into millions. Start small. I hope my story will encourage you to start. I hope my story will encourage you to bring out the potential in you. I hope my story will help you to start writing. I hope my story will help you to start doing that thing. It is in you. It is in you. You are like the palm tree. You flourish from inside, not what is outside. This is my story. This is my song. It will also be a better story in your life. Remember, I have a seminar coming up. Have I taught you everything I want to teach in the seminar? No. Still remaining. Out of your belly shall flow rivers of living waters. There's still more. It's still day. Now where a day. I have a webinar coming up on the 6th and on the 7th of December. It's the last for the year. Send a message to +234 80 21 21 92 to register for the webinar. I remain your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki.